From Studio 1A in Tampa, Florida, comes a talk show that really feels your pain and tells you like it is. We love America and all that freedom-loving Americans want to protect. Live from coast to coast and on your radio, it's For the People with Keith Allen.
We'll help you survive this thing called life. We're for the people. Whatever your source of stress or strife, for the people is there.
Well, hello, Mr. and Mrs. America. I am Keith Allen and proudly welcoming you to this November 30th on a Friday edition of For the People. And this broadcast has a great shelf life because it goes all across the country on many of our affiliates that play it over the weekend, all different times. So whatever time you're joining us, whether it's morning, afternoon, night, so glad that you stopped by to listen into today's broadcast. If you're new to For the People, we are here to really enlighten you, educate you, do it with some common sense and some passion. You just don't have enough of that, you know, with a lot of the talk shows these days where you tune in and it's lame-o. It's like, why can't we get somebody in here that's just real? And I tell you what, there's no better heritage than this broadcast For the People with Chuck Carter. He was the real deal. And to me, that's the best way to be. All right, what's on the docu today? The Mueller investigation. This thing is just crazy. It's continuing. We know what it's about. Special counsel Robert Mueller has been asking questions. Pretty much what role Ivanka Trump now, Donald Jr. have played in trying to secure deals to build this Trump Tower in Moscow. Yahoo News reports that Ivanka Trump, now one of President Donald Trump's top White House advisors, and Donald Jr. were also pursuing deals to build the Trump Tower in Moscow. So yesterday, Trump's former attorney Michael Cohen pleaded guilty to lying to congressional investigators about his own work on Trump Tower in Moscow had continued until June 2016 rather than ending in January 2016. Now, other sources, however, confirm that the efforts being made by Trump's children were being made independently of Cohen's, but Ivanka was also involved in Cohen's efforts. Yet another source was telling Yahoo News that Mueller had asked about their work on the Moscow project. So, according to Mueller's charging documents against Cohen, the former Trump attorney, he lied about that and had briefed family members at the Trump organization about the proposed skyscraper. So before she came to the White House, Ivanka was an executive with the organization. Sons Donald Jr. and Eric remain with the business. You got to have a little history here to kind of know, what in the world was going on. But an interesting factoid here, and a source familiar with the organization confirmed that Ivanka and Donald Jr. had engaged in their own efforts years before Cohen's project ended their work, and which dated back to 2013. And they were not looking at any other deals after that. And the source also said that the two were aware of Cohen's attempts, but Ivanka had only recommended an architect, and Donald Jr. was apparently unilaterally aware of the plan. That's where it gets so perplexing. That's why we're so perplexed that Cohen would lie about briefing them, because no one's ever disputed that they knew he was looking at it. So anyway, here's for anybody to be surprised, knowing the nature of the business that Donald Trump's in, knowing what he does for a living, what he did for all those years as a mogul. I mean, they were the Trump organization, folks. Real estate. That's the main deal. So it's no shock at all that they were, looking at possibilities of building buildings here. Tampa, Florida, where we do this broadcast, there was a deal that they were going to do a Trump Tower and change and redefine the in the Trump organization's words, and we were real excited about it here in Tampa. We were going to have it downtown. The deal fell through, but they are constantly exploring options. I think the deal was, more or less, the way that I understand it, why it didn't happen in Tampa, was they couldn't find enough bedrock. It's, you dig in the sand, you're pretty in the ocean pretty quick. You got to have some really good ground and pretty darn deep to build higher than what they've already done downtown. And we got some pretty nice buildings, but, the Trump Tower was going to rival every single one of them. And that would have been impressive. We were looking forward, but they just, again, that property location for right there, it didn't happen. And Tony Everett, which is a big developer here, she actually built a building not too long ago that's getting ready to open later next year on Bayshore Boulevard, but she was involved. And some people say in the Tampa Times back then, if you need to know, that there was a financial fallout, but it was more of an engineering debacle for anything. Anyways, for those that might be interested in the Tampa area, if you don't, everybody knows somebody in Florida. So your family member probably knows about the deal, has probably read about it. But that would have been all too cool. And we still welcome it. Please, Eric, Ivanka, build the Trump Tower here. Try to find another location. We just don't want the thing toppling over. It's got to be good. Donald Trump, his legal team, fired back early today at suggestions that the latest twist in Robert Mueller's probe mean that the bell is tolling his administration. Trump was identified as individual number one in court documents, by the way. This is filed in connection with Cohen's guilty plea for lying to Congress about again, we've talked about it, the since abandoned Russian development project. Trump's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, described the coverage of Cohen's plea as hysterical, stressing that Mueller's probe had largely bagged guilty pleas for false statements without uncovering evidence of collusion with Russia during the 2016 campaign. And here's a Twitter from earlier today from Giuliani. He says, hysterical coverage of Cohen's plea, it misses point that, once again, like Corsi leaked, documents demonstrate Mueller's crew had no evidence of collusion. Along the way, however, he is keeping America safe from false statement makers or people with faulty memories or both. Oh, lordy, lordy, lordy. It's got to be disturbing. Because, I heard a report a couple days ago that they might try to keep these investigations going all the way up until, he's out of the White House, and just trying to, the idea is to tarnish his reputation and the family's reputation as much as they possibly can, that there was collusion, that there was something bad going on. And by the way, the summit coming up with supposedly Vladimir Putin, the G20 in Brussels, that we're going to get together, but it's called off because Putin is up to no good again, as you know. It just, and it was a right decision. You can't deal with Vladimir when he's trying to take over a country, and he's done it once and he's doing it again. Shame on him. He's got all these people all really up in arms and all upset and all bent out of shape. But it's the right move. We can't do that. And the annexation, that was just ridiculous. We need to keep an eye on Vladimir. He's certainly trying to posture his military, just like China's pushing it, and we just have to be on our toes. But I at this point, somebody asked me the other day, who's a bigger threat in the future, Russia or China? Immediately, I say Russia. Russia's been, in the Spratly Islands, and I know what China's flexing their military muscle, but I think Vladimir is much more of a dangerous character. And I do believe that he tried to manipulate the outcome of the election. The American people voted, so he didn't have that much influence. He did try to influence, but it didn't program people to go to the polls and vote. They were sick and tired of where the country was going, and they liked what Donald Trump said. And trust me when I tell you this, there was a lot of good Democrats that went to the polls and voted the other way. They voted. Now, they may not articulate that. They may not admit that, and for right reasons, because they can get canned. People will, ostracize you and all sorts of things. People are very quiet if you're supportive of a Republican agenda in any shape or form, and it's really, really sad. This political correctness, I got to tell you, is depressing. It really is. Depressing where this country goes. And let's see, what do we got here?
Well, folks, as for the rest of the story,
He went down in history.
All right, so why in the world am I playing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer? I would rather not, and this is a great segue off the Cohen investigation, Robert Mueller, all that crap with Russian collusion, but the Huffington Post, which it's a liberal news site, so I got to preface that before going any further into the story. But was lampooning, it has been lampooned. They've been lampooning too, that's right. After saying Christmas classic Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer was seriously problematic over claims that it featured sexism and bullying. And viewers are noticing the tale may not be so jolly after all, the outlet's video said, and they're sharing the observation online. So among these observations, was the suggestion that the TV classic was a story about racism and homophobia. Now, have you ever thought about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the classic TV show? Think about it. Racism and homophobia. While calling Santa Claus abusive and bigoted. I don't know where they make this stuff up. I mean, you can find crap in probably just about anything and everything. They say it's a yearly reminder, as the Huffington Post goes on, that Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is a parable on racism and homophobia, while Santa is a bigoted prick. Boy. Santa's operation is an HR nightmare in the serious need of diversity and inclusion training, hashtag Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Now, the video also suggests, oh, Lord, here they go. It was problematic that Rudolph's father verbally abused him by forcing him to wear a fake nose to be accepted by others. There were lessons that have to be taught, and there was a happy ending. People, wake up in this politically charged PC world where, something offends, you're like literally walking on eggshells. Seriously. I mean, please give me a break, ladies and gentlemen. This thing just gets me irked. As you think it was just going to go play the song and we're going to have a Merry Christmas and everything was going to be great, but now they're messing with Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Huffington Post's efforts to highlight the perceived bigotry of the beloved movie attracted tens of thousands of negative comments, most of them mocking the video. Oh, look, something people like and enjoy. Let's go ruin it, tweeted Rebecca. If you try hard enough, you can find offense in almost anything. Others pointed out that the Huff Post misunderstood the cartoon as the troubling characters learn their lessons in the end, but the bigoted characters learn that they were wrong. It teaches a lesson. It doesn't endorse the problematic stuff, tweeted Robbie. Thank you, Robbie, for the clarification and a good dose of common sense, something that the broadcast serves up. Even President Trump's son, Don Jr., weighed in on the topic, tweeting, "Liberalism is a disease." It is.